Today, Daniel and I are going to share with you a story that invites us to change the way we think about good news and bad news. A story that reminds us to honor the paths that our lives take, however twisty and turny those paths are.
This story comes from the tradition of Chinese wisdom stories, tales that have been told for many generations in Chinese cultures because inside their details, there's a nugget of truth that can be meaningful to all of us.
In our telling of good news, bad news, I will be the farmer and Daniel will be the storyteller.
Once there was a farmer who owned a beautiful horse. She loved this horse and spent long hours caring for it. In fact, the farmer's horse was widely admired. The people of her village would often stop as they walked by to gaze upon it and comment on its beauty. One afternoon, the farmer rode her beloved horse in from the fields after a day of work, but in her haste, she didn't fully close the gate to the corral. That evening, as the moon rose up over the pasture and the farmer slept in her house, the beautiful and precious horse pushed open the gate, running away quickly toward the forest and into the far-reaching trees. The next morning, as the sun rose, the farmer discovered the empty corral. Villagers walking past the corral also noticed that it was empty. Word that the beloved horse had escaped quickly spread among the farmer's neighbors, but the farmer just said,
"Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. It's too soon to tell."
The villagers were certain that the horse would never return, and that the farmer was stubbornly not accepting her loss. Days passed, until one afternoon at dusk, the farmer's horse emerged from the forest, trotting back towards the corral, and the neighbors were stunned to see that a herd of wild horses was following the farmer's horse. All of the horses found their way into the corral and to the trough of food waiting there. This time, the farmer was sure to lock her gate. Word of this turn of events quickly spread among the villagers, and a farmer's neighbor came to celebrate. But the farmer said only,
"Maybe it's good news, maybe it's bad news. It's too soon to tell."
The farmer enjoyed watching this new herd of horses in her corral. Her grown son enjoyed them even more. He had been watching them with admiration. One of the horses in particular, a beautiful horse that looked as if she could run as fast as the wind, fascinated him. He decided to try to break the wild horse and train her to ride with him on her back. But that afternoon, as he tried to break her, the horse threw the son. He landed heavily on the ground, breaking both of his legs. And as you can guess, the farmer had just one thing to say.
"Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. It's too soon to tell."
The villagers were still clucking and tisking about the son's broken legs and how terrible this accident was, when from the distance, can you hear it? The thundering of more horse hooves could be heard entering the village. This time, it wasn't a herd of wild horses, but the emperor's troops riding down the valley, flags flapping in the air, armors gleaming in the sun. As the troops wound their way from the farm to farm, they announced the news of a war in the far edges of the country. It was a large war effort, so every able-bodied young man in the country was being conscripted. When they reached the farmer's house, they found her injured son and left him behind, excusing him from being conscripted because his legs were still healing. Even as they mourned the departure of their healthy sons, the neighbor came to celebrate with the farmer that her son was safe from being made a soldier. And how do you think the farmer responded?
"Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. It's too soon to tell."
As you can imagine, this story of ours could go on and on, but we'll end it here on a happy note.
Our paths are continually shaped by good news and bad news as we try to make sense of the new direction we are given. The folktale that we just heard echoes something else that we already know. Life takes strange turns. Life throws us curveballs. Life contains surprises that we never saw coming and that we aren't sure what to do with. Life sometimes gives us questions and no answers. Sometimes good news turns out to be not so good after all. And sometimes the things we hope for don't bring us the happiness that we expect.
Ever since human beings could formulate questions about life and the great mystery, we have wondered, why do our paths take such sudden turns? And when those turns happen, we struggle to know, how do we respond to life's curveballs and life's unanswered questions? As people of faith, we don't have a fixed answer to questions about why our paths twist and turn so suddenly. But our questions form the mystery in which we all move and breathe and live. For every person, there may be a different answer, but we ask the questions freely and embrace them as part of the journey. When we stumble upon answers, we remember that each person knows is a piece of the truth.
In the past, in the paths that our lives take, there is both pain and glory and joy in the not knowing. But we challenge ourselves to believe in the goodness of life, the importance of justice, and the power of hope. And we believe that every sudden swerve into mystery is made more gentle by having a community. We don't have to do it alone. As the paths of our lives continue to unfold, may we be good companions to one another, and may our journeys bring us meaning and hope.
Maybe this time apart is good. Maybe it's bad. It's too soon to tell. But until we are together again, remember that all of us at the Elliott Church miss you and love you and look forward to when we can be together.